Good morning everyone. Today our group is going to present on stock market versus fixed deposit. When people have savings, they have different options for investing their money. Two common investment options are stock market investment and fixed deposits. In this presentation, we will explain what stock market investment and fixed deposit are, how each investment works, and the main differences between them. We will also compare their risk, potential returns, liquidity, and investment periods. Finally, we will identify which type of investor may be more suitable for each investment option. So, let's first understand what stock market investment means. Over to Rehansa. Thank you.
Thank you, Tehasna. A stock market investment involves purchasing shares of publicity listed companies. When an investor purchases shares, they become a shareholder of that company. There are mainly two ways investors can earn from stocks. The first one is capital gains. This happens when an investor buys shares at a lower price and later sells them at a higher price. The second way is through dividends. Some companies distribute a part of their profits to their shareholders as dividends. Stock market investments have a higher potential return, but they also involve higher risk. Share prices can fluctuate because of market conditions, company performance, and economic factors. Therefore, returns are not guaranteed. Now, let's look at another common investment option, which is fixed deposit. Over to you, Swasi.
Thank you, Rehansa. A fixed deposit is an investment where a person deposits money with a bank or financial institution for a predetermined period at agreed investment rate. Unlike a stock market investment, a fixed deposit generally have a lower risk and more predictable returns. The investors knows the agreed interest rate and the investment period at the beginning. Therefore, fixed deposits are suitable for people who prefer a stability and predictable returns. However, the money is usually committed for fixed period. Now that we know the stock market investment and fixed deposits are, let's see how each investment actually work. Thank you. Over to Samir.
Thank you, Swansea. Now let's see how stock market investments and fixed deposit work. First, in the stock market, an investor buys shares of a company. After purchasing the shares price may increase or decrease depending on market conditions. When the investor sells the shares, they may earn a capital gain if the selling price is higher than the purchaser's price. Investors may also receive dividends from some companies. On the other hand, with a fixed deposit, the investor deposits money with the bank or financial institution. The deposited money earns interest at the agreed rate. At the end of the fixed period, known as machinery, the investor receives the deposit amount together with the investment according to the terms of the deposit. So, the main income sources are capital gains and dividends for stocks, while fixed deposit mainly provide interest income. Thank you. Over to Dari.
Thank you, Samini. Today I am going to talk about risk comparison. Now let's compare the risk associated with these two investment options. Stock market investment have several risks. First is market volatility, where share prices can change frequently. Second is company specific risk, because the performance of particular company can affect its share price. There is also economic risk, where changes in the overall economy can affect investments. Because of these risks, investors have many lost part of their invested capitals and returns are uncertain. In comparison, Fixed deposits have lower market risk and very low price volatility because the deposit does not have a market price that changes like a share. However, fixed deposits still have risks such as inflation risk and risk-related financial institution. Therefore, overall stock market investment have high risk, while fixed deposits generally have low risk. Thank you.
Next, let's compare the returns from stock market investments and fixed deposits. Stock market investments have a higher potential return. Investors can earn through capital appreciation when share prices increases, and they may also receive dividends. However, these returns are not guaranteed because share prices can move up or down. In contrast, fixed deposits provide more predictable returns. The interest rate is agreed in advance, subject to the terms of the deposit. Therefore, the investor can have a better idea about the interest income they will receive. So, when comparing returns, the stock market offers higher potential returns, while fixed deposits offer more predictable returns. Thank you.
Let's compare liquidity and investment periods. Stock market investments are generally more liquid because shares can usually be sold during market hours. However, if money is needed urgently, the investor may have to sell at unfavorable price. Stocks can therefore be suitable for medium or long-term financial goals. In contrast, a fixed deposit keeps money invested for a fixed period. If the investor withdraws it before maturity, there may be conditions or reduction in interest. Therefore, fixed deposits are more suitable for people who do not need their money immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanadu. Now let's compare the risks associated with these two investment options. Stock market investment have several risks. First, market volatility, where share prices can change frequently. Second, company-specific risks because the performance of a particular company can affect its share prices. There is there is also economic risk where changes in the overall economy can affect investments. Because of these risks, investors may even lose part of their invested capital and returns are uncertain. In comparison, fixed deposits have lower market risk and very lower price volatility because the deposit does not have a market prices that changes like a share. However, fixed deposits still have risks such as inflation risks and risks related to the financial institution. Therefore, overall stock market investments have higher risks, while fixed deposits generally have lower risks. Thank you. Over to Chetana.
Finally, let's have side-by-side comparison of stock market investment and fixed deposits. In terms of risk, the stock market has higher risk while fixed deposit have lower risks. In terms of return potential, the stock market has higher potential returns while fixed deposit provides more predictable returns. Return certainly is lower in the stock market and higher with the fixed deposit. In terms of volatility, stock market investment have high volatility where fixed deposit have very low volatility. The investment period is more flexible in stock market while fixed deposit have fixed investment period. The investment period is more taxable in the stock market, while fixed deposit have a fixed investment period. Therefore, stock market investment are generally more suitable for growth-oriented investors. To conclude, the stock market can be described as higher risk with higher potential returns, while fixed deposit after lower risk with more predictable returns. However, there is no universally best investment option. The right choice depends on the investor's risk tolerance, financial goals, Liquidity needs an investment horizon. Thank you for listening to our presentation.